It's been good. It's nearly coming up to 7 months now, and there's been a lot going on. A lot of it behind the scenes. I think that the biggest thing we see ourselves with at the moment. You know, I've been here for this amount of time, yet I've picked one squad. We've been on the training pitch for a total of 9 days. Half of that time we've had half a new squad in there. You know, we've missed the October window. So we've been here a long time. We've done a lot of work off the pitch. We've had very little time on the pitch. So the key areas, you know, following on from the plan I gave a little while ago, we're still moving along the same lines. The only difference is now that plan is just even more clear, even more detailed, and the key areas for us are maximising contact time, so finding ways to maximise our time with the players, remotely and also, you know, with us, aligning our national teams, aligning all our teams and staff, which has been a big focus over the last period. Having a team culture in place, you know, for our lack of contact time in relation to our competitors. If we continue along these lines, we're gonna be really up against it. So we have to have something that stands us out against the rest, and that's having a strong team culture. And also all our processes around the team in terms of preparation, travel, recovery strategies, how we prepare, everything around the team is improved. So they're the 4 key areas that we're looking that have to happen in order for us to get to where we want to go to. Well, I think in terms of maximising contact time, the key thing is if we, from when we last played in November, our last game, to when we play again in March, we will have played 2 games. Most of the top teams in Asia could potentially have played a minimum of 10 games in that same amount of time. So we have to figure out ways of, because if we continue along those lines, you know, we play less than 80% in relation to our competitors. So we'll have to figure out a way of maximising contact time with the team. And one key part of that is for us to take the under-23s, which I've highlighted before. And what that does for us is that buys us, you know, close to 30 days in the summer, minimum of 4 games with the under-23s. Now that only works if we have more than 50% all whites in that under-23 squad, which means we have to have a minimum of 50% under-23s in our all whites. So when we play in March against South Korea, the majority of that squad, or at least minimum of half that squad, is under-23. So they're getting style of play, they're getting contact. We then go into our Olympic qualifiers in the islands. We get island preparation when we go into our World Cup qualifiers. We go into our friendly matches after that with the All Whites, and now we've bought ourselves more time with a good core of our All White squad. Distance learning. So now we've started sending out information to the players in terms of analysis, in terms of our style of play, in terms of our culture. So that now is something that we've started and is ongoing. It's something that we will progress, and it just keeps us progressing. And so when we get together in March and when we get together again, we're further ahead than when we left off. A key moment on this, you know, certainly this year is July. So that would be a big transition date for us. So the best players from our under-23s, from that Olympic campaign, and the best players from the under-20 World Cup they're the ones that are going to be part of our World Cup campaign. So we have to look at that date in July and say to the players, if you're not the best player in your team, if you're not the best player in the under-20 tournament, if you're not the best player in the Olympic qualifiers, and unfortunately our focus has to go elsewhere, because we want to then narrow down our squad to a consistent group of 22 to 28 players, where at the moment we've got a wider group of young and senior players. So just to highlight there, the focus for us is to be part of our campaign. You have to be under 23, best under 23s, because we get more time with you as a group, or you have to be the best overage senior player. So you have to be playing at an elite level now, at a high level now, as I see it. So if you're over 23, you've got to be making it, playing regular first team football, or at a very, very high level. If you're anywhere in between, so if you're over 23 and you're not doing it now, we can't afford to. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough games. So the focus goes on 23s or the best overage players. Well, it's not a. It's a process that's going to take time, but we're really pleased with how it's coming along. First of all, we start with, of course, the coaches. So all our technical staff from 17s, 20s to the All Whites, we're all aligned. We do that by regular weekly technical meetings, video analysis, constant video analysis, feedback. You know, so the objective is that our style of play is evident through all our teams. The way we train is evident through all our teams. The way we warm up, the drills we use, everything we do is all specific to all our teams. And what that does is it just gives the players a better chance that when they one, we have a clear identity. It's the most important thing, a clear style of play, a clear identity, that when people see us play, you know, if we have the fern on the shirt or not, they know it's New Zealand because of the way we play. We have a clear style of play, but it also gives the players a better chance of progressing, because when they do progress, they can slot straight in seamlessly or a lot quicker. So if an under-20 player comes on a tour with us, he should know how exactly what his job is on the pitch at any given time, because he's been doing it week in, week out with the Wanderers or the 20s. So that's the objective, and it's obviously an ongoing process. But as of today, it's been very good. We're really pleased. I think an example, the Wanderers, I think, are showing really good signs, and I think the biggest success there for me was having Declan Wynn come with us in China and having an incredible debut, setting up the goal by making a great forward run, but also just the whole game. He was able to come in and train, know his job, play his first game, and the transition was seamless. And if we can get more players that come into us that are able to fit straight into our style of play, we're just speeding up the learning of players, and we're not going to be losing valuable time on the training pitch, which we would do if they didn't know what they were doing. So they were very good trips, difficult trips, because it's a lot of travelling, and logistically is, you know, you're relying on lots of the club's programs, but it's a really important trip, especially in our situations. It can be very risky for us to be in such a beautiful place, as we know this is such a great lifestyle. We're in around our staff every day, working along a certain line, but the dangerous, risky part is we lose touch with the reality of football environments for our players. So that's just one part of it. We can go there and we can see the realities of what the player situations, and these players are really the most important people to us, you know, in terms of you know, they're part of our future. They're representing New Zealand. They're promoting the game offshore. So to go there, understand what their own personal situations are individually, you know, offer support, and also to go and build relationships with the clubs. You know, we need not only do we need the players on side, but we need the clubs on side, and we need the clubs to know what we're doing with their players. We need the clubs to know that when we send the players back, you know, from now on, you know, talking about our preparation, you know, when we send players back now, the clubs will get, you know, all the information, necessary information in terms of what they've done with us, all the data, everything that's needed, that the clubs know that the players are getting looked after. Because when we start getting into 2016 and we need full availability from our players, when we start getting into the qualifiers, all this work we're doing now in terms of building relationships, in terms of letting the clubs know that you know that they're confident about the players coming away with us, they're getting looked after. We hope, and for sure, that will pay off when we get into 2016, where we need those relationships to be strong. I think the Wanderers have been very good. You know, I hear a lot of time earlier on in the season that it's the under-20 team. It's not the under-20 team. I think the objective of this group is to prepare a handful of players in there that are going to be with the under-20s, and give a chance to any other players that could potentially squeeze themselves into the squad. I think Darren has done an incredible job there with the Wanderers, because playing against men in the league, you know, so a physical league, playing against men, and you know, a lot of the time players are coming and going from college. You know, players have been taken away to the All Whites. You know, again in March, there, you know, potentially could be some players that leave his squad. But in terms of their performances and how they're trying to play, and how they're progressing, you know, they're progressing every week. It's been really good, and I think Darren has to take a lot of credit for that. I think they've been really good, and I think the byproduct, or what's come out of that is of course Declan has come in and made his debut, and I'm sure there's going to be many more from the team that do that. You know, we've now just got Declan win over to West Brom to go and spend some time over there, which is a big achievement for him, and he deserves it. And a couple more players from this team, we're working to get over to a championship team as well, so that will hopefully be in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we're very confident about that. And again, that's just another thing that's just going to help these players and prepare them to play at a higher level and experience what it's all about, and hopefully get something as well at the end of it. But that's going to help our World Cup preparations, and it's also going to help the All Whites. So the success 2015 is about two things: it's about process and it's about outcome. So process for us is building a team culture. The process for 2015 is about identifying the best youth, and we looked at the transition date, so identifying the best under-23s, best youth that we're going to now keep with us for the remainder of the campaign, and that July date is key for us. So it's looking at new players, looking at young players. So you might see in March maybe 1 or 2 players who have not played for the All Whites before that are in this squad. Now we can only do that in March. We can't do that later on in the year when we're about to go into qualifiers. So now is about process, identifying players, identifying young players, team culture in place, getting all our preparation around the team up to a real professional standard in terms of recovery strategies, in terms of travel, in terms of nutrition, in terms of relationships with the clubs. Everything around what we're doing now goes. So it's all processes on and off the pitch. And then the outcome part of 2015. So success for us for this year is winning in the island. So a minimum of 4 points for our qualifiers at the end of the year, and we have to qualify for the Olympics. So we qualify for the Olympics. We then buy ourselves our equivalent of the Asian Cup. You know, all our competitors have played in the Asian Cup. Really, really good tournament. You know, how do we get that? Well, again, we have to have a minimum of 50% under 23s in our March squad, minimum 50% All Whites in our under 23 squad. We qualify for the Olympics, and we buy ourselves another big tournament the following year, where we're allowed 3 overage players, and looking at our squad, you know, we'll probably, and that could potentially be 80-90% of our all whites going to the Olympics in Brazil. So 2 parts: winning the Islands end of the year and qualify for the Olympics. The rest is all about process, relationships, team culture, looking at ways to maximise contact time with the team, aligning our national teams. A lot of work is being done on aligning our national teams. You know, within the next 6 to 12 months, you will see all our teams playing the same way. So it's all process and obviously the outcome that we've just spoke about.